What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. Today we are checking out some of the strongest picks that have risen up with the new patch over in Korea to see how much has changed. Remember, we look at Korea specifically because they play a bit more, they experiment more, and in theory they're going to find these things a little bit before we do, so we get a chance to use them before everybody catches on. Before we start this, thank you to Pro Guys helping to edit this video. The end of the season is coming up, so if you're looking for that final push to climb, then you can always try out the free trial over there to see the guides and talk to higher players as well. So the first one is actually 3. So it's Rumble, Kennen, and Syndra. This is basically the Worlds effect, so we're going to start with the 3 together. All have had like a sudden jump in their stats after 620 because of the Worlds have happened. They're played way more now. Kennen is like the second most popular top laner, Rumble is the 5th, Syndra is the 3rd most popular mid laner. These kind of shifts just don't really happen in Korea often at all. Normally it's the popular champions that stay the same, but it's the win rates that kind of fluctuate. Kennen is probably actually the best top laner you can play right now, I would say. Like, he beats Riven, Rumble, Darius, Gnar, all of these popular picks. He does struggle versus Irelia, even a little bit versus Jace, I guess, as well, but he basically has the ability to carry any game though. Like, one really good ultimate and you're going to destroy people. You have a strong lane, you're really good 1v1, but you're also really good in a team fight, so there's like no real phase in the game where you're actually very weak. You are a full damage carry as well. You don't have to build like specific defense. I guess you build like a mix, like Rylai, Zhonya's, Abyssal maybe. These are kind of like in the middle items. You also have good TP ganks as well. Like, you're very well rounded, I think. Like, you can win your lane, you can win team fights, you can TP around and help your team. What more do you really want from a top laner? Rumble is as well one of the most underrated picks, I think, at the moment, because he is so strong, but he's just kind of hard to play. He's good in lane as well. He can get himself ahead. Team fights, of course, he has his ultimate, he's really good. I think the ultimate can actually do a lot of work as well, even when you're behind, which is a really key thing. If your team falls behind, one good ult and it can turn things. He's harder to play than someone like Kennen, for example. You don't just press R and like dive in and kill everybody. He's not really going to show up on stat websites as broken, but that doesn't mean that he isn't. You can build defensive, again, a lot like Kennen, Zhonya's, Rylai's and stuff. You're kind of tanky and you're pretty safe actually, so you can put out a lot of damage while staying safe yourself. If you learn him, he can carry super hard in my opinion, and it is worth learning right now. If you learn him and push with the end of the season, I think it's going to be strong until the end now. Syndra, again, is probably actually the best mid laner once you've mastered her at the moment. She's kind of hard like Rumble. Well, actually, she's not really hard. It's like she has loads of different things that you can do with her that just make her insanely good. Like, you can ultimate first, then use your E to stun the entire team. You can prep your balls before a fight. I probably shouldn't have phrased like that. You put balls down before a fight, then you throw like 3 of them in, do more damage. You stun as well with the 3 balls. It's really good. The point is, like, there is a massive difference between a basic Syndra and a really advanced one, and I think that is why you put time into her and why she's really good when you master her. Her level 6 is ridiculous, right, with her ultimate. You kind of play for the lane, but actually your pushing and roaming is really the way you should play her. I know you have the damage to kill people in lane and you can stomp people, but you really want to help your team rather than just like crush your lane. This is something that pushing champions have a natural advantage. Like, when they push, it means you can roam afterwards, like plus a damage, and that is what's making her overpowered right now. Some people are very bad on Syndra and it makes her look very bad, but actually if you play her like this, so you push, you kill if you can, but then you roam around and you help your team and get kills there, then you're actually going to be insanely good. So Twisted Fate is the first champion doing a ton of better this patch, like a spike in win rate wise, and it's partly because of Syndra actually, because he has a good matchup. It sounds very weird, right? Because Twisted Fate is weak in lane versus Syndra, who is strong in lane. It kind of comes down to a few things, but the first one is the pushing. Like, it keeps her contained because Twisted Fate can actually push just as hard as Syndra. She can't push and roam. He can actually roam better with his ultimate, of course. You take Cleanse to remove the stun and just run away, and actually you don't beat her, right? You beat her team. This is something really important with Twisted Fate, but why he has actually got such a good win rate right now in Korea is because it's how all of these matchups go. LeBlanc, Lux, Malzahar, Victor, all very popular, all stronger than him, but he wins the map and not his lane. There's also lots of choice with build stuff depending on the game as well, and flexibility with build is always really important because it lets you adapt to the actual game and do what's best for that certain situation. Like, Abyssal would be hard lanes, maybe Syndra for example, or the LeBlanc. Rod of Ages would be more of a mid-game item, I guess. Zhonya's would be team fight, Lichbane will be damage. You can order these how you like depending on the game. Rod of Ages is the only one you probably need to get first if you're going to get it, but you can get what you need. If you need damage, you get Lichbane. If you need defense, you get Zhonya's or Abyssal. He is kind of an early game pick. Like, you win early and you push your advantage. That's what he brings to the table now more than others, and that is why you would play him. So Jace top lane, I don't think too many will be surprised with this after how Worlds has gone, but still a massive jump in play rate and win rate this patch. This is actually really important. That's how you know something is broken, by the way. If you play it more and it wins more, then it obviously is really good. He's basically an early game champion right now. That's how he's played. You win lane super hard, you poke while it chunks like half of everyone's health, and you win from that. He's not really a late game pick at all, but early game he is unstoppable, and he has a good matchup versus a lot of top laners right now. Riven, Kennen, Irelia. He smashes Darius, by the way. Some of this will be like because he's new, you're not really sure how to play the matchup, but some of it is that he's just that strong. Him being Irelia though is kind of scary, to be honest, because she is supposed to be good versus him. There used to be a trinity of top laners a few seasons ago. So it used to be Darius, Jace, and Irelia were the three most popular, and Jace would beat Darius, Darius would beat Irelia, and Irelia would beat Jace. So it would go around in a little circle. The fact that Jace can break this circle right now, beat Darius really hard, and also beat Irelia just means he is very strong. The recent buffs kind of took him over the top. That's probably where a lot of this has come from, but his early damage plus auto harass is way too much for people to deal with. If he even gets slightly ahead in the game, Shock Blast will ruin people, and it's so hard to play against that. Like, he's a very good top laner at the moment and having massive impact. Another pick from Worlds is Olaf jungle. This guy has seriously popped off in career, by the way, jumping up in play rate and win rate again, just like Jace. It's actually kind of funny though, because it's different to the LCS. So the LCS is like an early game pick, right? You get ahead or you lose, basically. Like, you're picked for early pressure and ganking. In career, his worst win rate is actually early game. Like, he keeps getting better as the game goes on, and that's seriously random, but they do it with a bit more damage actually. So the builds from LCS are like full tank, and they don't do very well actually in solo queue, but aggressive builds like Black Cleaver, Deadman, Sonin do a lot more work, and that is what we're seeing. This is one where I think you should take it with a pinch of salt though, and everybody knows League players are full of salt, so you should be fine doing that. But he smashes Lee Sin, right? He does okay versus Kha'Zix and Elise, but he gets boned by a lot of others like Zac, Nidalee, Evelynn, who all three of those are pretty popular. He's a good champion to have in your pocket to kind of whip out, but not really something to go with every game unless you are good with him and you can do some work early. The thing is, in theory, right, if you get ahead early, you get defense and you get damage, and that's like a dead enemy AD carry who can't do anything. It's so hard to play against that. You can practically 1v5 if you do well enough early game, so that is kind of what this comes down to. If you can do well early, play him all the time. If you can't, then save him for the situations where he's good at, like the matchups he's good in. Now, Misfortune is next up, but actually a bit different, okay? So had the top win rate for the last 3 patches, but a massive spike up this patch to broken levels at the moment. Remember, like, Korean Lucian, the arm pen Lucian when that first came in, Jin with the new build as well, Ashe? Like, she is higher than all of those right now. This, by the way, is death by a touch Misfortune. I'm not actually kidding. Like, they max their Q, W, E, but they run death by a touch. It's still the same build and stuff, so Ghostblade, Dustblade, Black Cleaver. Ghostblade and Dustblade swap though quite a lot actually, so Dustblade might be first one game, might be second the next game. She crushes like every popular pick at the moment though. That is why her win rate is so high. So she beats like Ezreal, Jhin, the Jinx, Vayne, Lucian. Like, these are the 5 most popular champions in Korea, and Misfortune wins versus all of them. She is just so strong throughout the game, good in lane, hard to play against, good in team fights. Like, honestly, she doesn't have much of a weakness except lack of mobility. That is legit all there is. That's the only downside to her right now, and there is a lot to this one, so I'm actually going to talk about her in tomorrow's video. But Misfortune is super broken over in Korea this patch, well, everywhere, but especially in Korea. I think it's like a lot of different things. Her love tap damage, her pushing power, her Q crits, her ultimate, all of them on their own are actually really strong, right? But together they make her a serious threat. So Nautilus support is one that has jumped up this patch though, currently the 2nd best win rate so far in 620. They don't really do anything different to us this time though, like no different builds, runes, masteries, just good matchups, but not what you expect. So Nautilus is a kill lane, right? But also very good in team fights with how much crowd control he provides. If he gets ahead, he's actually a threat to the enemy AD, and that is not cool. But anyway, so you would expect he spanks people like Janna, Soraka, Sona, Nami, the low health ones, right? But actually no, he loses against them. They can survive and they just outpace him into the mid game. They provide more than him. He actually beats the other kill lanes. So like Thresh, Blitz, Braum, Leona, Kami spanks a bit as well, but that's a bit different. He does what they do, but better. That is why his win rate is so high. You pair him up with something like a Misfortune, Jhin, Jinx, or Lucian, like all of these popular champions, because he provides them with a frontline, crowd control, and damage. That is exactly what you want from a support, really, if you're going to try and fight people. In my opinion, he's a very solid, aggressive support right now, but he is a bit more risky and he wants to fight a lot. Brand is another support actually doing really well, but this time at lower rank. So this is my low elo pick for this video rather than the higher ones. He's just another mid laner, to be honest. Like, that is how you're gonna look at him, okay? He does so much damage and it's really hard to play against that. Even for me, like with years of experience playing bot lane, like I find it very hard to position to avoid him, avoid the enemy AD, and get farm at the same time. I'm not trying to be cocky in that way or anything, but if I find it hard, right, with that much experience, then imagine someone who is newer to AD. That's actually kind of how I look at him. Like, he crushes people who aren't that amazing at support or AD. You have to play aggressive, you have to fight him and position correctly. All of that is hard to do together if you don't play a ton against him and know the matchup, or you just don't play a ton of bot lane. If he gets ahead though, you're in for a really sad game. Like, he'll just permanently slow you, he'll kill you, do loads of damage, you're pretty screwed. In my opinion, he's one of the best like carry supports. Right now you can do more damage than anyone on his team and really carry so hard. He's perfect if you're an aggressive support and you want to carry bad teammates. To me at least, having a support who can like top the damage charts and be a threat late game, not fall off, is a really strong asset for your team to have. Like, the later the game goes, the more damage you get. That's gonna wrap up this video. That is 9 picks this time that are doing much better into this patch, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching right till the end, and for now, let's go to the robots.